Right. Hi, everybody. This is the very first of these interviews that I'm doing with graduates of the AJC School for 2023. Alex Manzi, the man, the myth, the legend. Like when I think back about the school, Alex, I just I remember watching you walk to the front of the room, and it's like there's a silence that falls. You have a draw, you have a presence, you have a kudos way beyond the years that your body might suggest. And then you speak, and it's as if you draw from the time of all ages and translate it into a way that whole new generations would hear. So I'm really grateful for you to be here, and I'm really chuffed that you're number one, actually. I think that's just really cool. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction, and absolutely no pressure then at all then on every word that I say.
Yeah, so you better be good and say some clever stuff, right?
Exactly. Oh shit. Also, Dave, I wanna acknowledge you. I know you're sort of doing these to hear other people's experiences, but just from my experience of you, like the way you showed up for the school was just like phenomenal, man. I took so much
Oh,
inspiration from you. Just I could see you like absorb, write stuff down, and then just go off and implement and just everything you've created over the
thank you.
past probably year or so has just been a result of that, man. So I really want to acknowledge you for that, and I'm
Thank you.
hopeful that you'll share your side of things as well in a version of these.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, absolutely. Really happy to do that. And I think you've hit the nail on the head on my intention around these interviews, which was to keep them short and powerful. Like that capacity you spoke about there of being able to like really listen, and not listen with the thinking mind, but to really listen and absorb and notate anything that needs to be expressed and written, and then move straight into action. I think for me that was the single biggest piece of gold to refine over the 23-24 season. And my endeavor this year is to take that to a completely different level, which I can't imagine yet either. That's what makes it exciting. So thank you for seeing that and pointing to it. So I had
Mm.
3 questions which I sent to everybody who's going to be talking. And the first one was your own biggest shift. What's the standout change for you personally from the school from that year?
Oof, I think for me, the second work weekend in November was all about waking up to your value or something along those lines. And
Right.
I think for me, that was the biggest shift because I've been coaching for 6 years now, full time, 4 years. So a lot of the kind of how-to stuff I'd heard before, and obviously I was listening with fresh ears, but I'd heard it before. But the thing that I guess I wasn't seeing, which people were always pointing me to, was kind of what you said at the beginning, like how powerful I can be, how much value I bring, and how much that can really shift someone else's world by introducing them to some of the things that I know, to introducing them to the understandings and the learnings that have shaped me and changed me and helped me go from, for those who don't know, like being very depressed and riddled with anxiety to now being someone who has a successful coaching business, a top performing podcast, written a book, like creates content for fun, kind of stuff. Like that wasn't me 8 years ago, 10 years ago. So I guess like me seeing the value in myself just through my own journey and what I bring into the world, let alone into a conversation with someone, like that was a game changer. Because it was like, oh, if someone hires me as a coach, they're not hiring me to coach them. They are, but they're also hiring me for all of this experience and all of this value that I'm bringing into the conversation. So that just changed my perspective of like, oh, I'm charging, to me, it looked like I'm charging this much. To all of a sudden it went, oh no, I'm charging this much in comparison to the value and the experience that I'm kind of
Wow.
bringing into the world.
Oh man, that's brilliant. Right. For people watching this, I'd love for them to, after they've watched it all, or even pause now, right, and go back to when you started speaking and really I really want people to feel you, the feeling of the shift that you had. Like I'm still goosebumps. Right? I just went goosebumps when you spoke about having heard the how-to before, and there's nothing right. I come across as quite critical of how-to really, and in a way I am, because a lot of it I think is misguided. It masks true brilliance. But then you really deeply saw your own value, and that shifted everything. That's what I think people are talking about when they're talking about shifting in being. So that, please go back and listen to Alex's first 30, 40 seconds and feel him. Like, I don't know, close your eyes, do whatever it is that you do to take you into a space of total silence and feel the change that he felt. And that will change your practice. And if you're not a coach, you're just like a regular genius in a different industry, it will change your world. I guarantee it. That's amazing. Thank you, man. Second question, biggest shift in your business, especially if it's something that you wouldn't have imagined to happen.
Do you know what? So it's really funny, this one, because so I got into coaching by mistake, as I think most people probably do, right? So I got into coaching through my own journey, as I said, from depression and kind of doing my own work, and then starting to share content online around my journey. And my podcast came out of wanting to learn about other people's journeys and all of this stuff. And then coaching kind of came off of the back of that, because people started coming to me for like help. And I was just like, oh, I don't know what's going on. I can kind of tell you some stuff. I don't know what. And then the idea of coaching kind of formed from there. And then I kind of moved away, not a lot, but quite a bit, from putting out and creating content as much as I did, because in my mind I had kind of, oh no, I can't put time into creating content because I need to put time into creating conversations and doing the stuff that we kind of, and serving and doing this. And what actually I saw in the school through various conversations on the weekends and with some of our colleagues in the group was that actually, for me, and this doesn't have to be for anyone else, but for me, Alex, my business works when I'm creating content. Like, creating content for me it helps breathe life into my business. And I kind
Hang on,
of,
hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on. Pause. Because I like, oh, that's so good. I don't know if you know how good that is, right? But I'm imagining. Now I've gone off the chart goosebumps. But I just want people listening, like, so much of this kind of interview style stuff, there's so much of it around now, podcast. There's just like trillions of it. But I think we miss the gold by hammering through everything, by hammering through life. What you just said there, that piece again would change everything for people. I want to speak it back at you so I can feel it really. That because I've been talking about this a lot with my own fitness journey. That joy that you get from creating content breathes life into your business.
mm,
Like, if people saw that, the people have said to me, how can you spend so much time in the gym? What about your coaching practice? I'm like, nah, it's good, it's growing. There's no separation, remember. The joy from the gym, the joy from those connections, that's how I'm vibrating in the world. That's my highest vibe currently. Not sitting typing DMs to people on LinkedIn or any shit like that.
mm,
Right? That's beautiful.
yeah. And
You're a gift, Manzi.
thank you.
I tell you that. You're a
And
gift.
and for me, man, like that was a real wake up, because like I said, I'd kind of started to, in my mind at least, like be like, no, that stuff's not as important as this other
Yeah.
stuff. But then I can keep this really short, but like last year, I started to feel a bit frustrated, like creatively frustrated, because I didn't have
Yeah.
an outlet for that stuff.
Yeah.
And then since the start of this year, like I've really been going for it again with the content. And I'm still probably only like 25% of the level that I used to be at in like 2017, 18, and 19. But I just feel like there's so much more flow in me, and again, like, don't hear this about making content, hear this about being in flow. And there's a
Yes.
brilliant
Yes.
quote at the start of the Rick Rubin book, it's on the shelf somewhere behind me, where it says, it's not about creating art. It's about being in that wonderful state that makes art inevitable.
Oh, God on fire. That's just too cool, isn't it? And
Mm,
I love what you pointed out there, right? Don't If you're listening to this, don't think, oh right, content. I've got to create content. It's like, no, tune into what Alex has tuned into. Whatever that is for you, tune into that, express that, be that. You can't put a foot wrong.
mm,
You can't when you're in flow. It's impossible. That
mm.
Because that's natural law.
Yeah. And it's like, if your thing is going out on the street and talking to every stranger that you possibly can, like let
Yeah,
that be your thing, you know?
totally,
And
totally.
and that's what I'm saying. It's not about content, it's about being
Yeah,
in that state that just
yeah,
makes everything else
yeah,
flow beautifully.
yeah. Wow. Thank you. Top tip for anyone wanting to receive the gold from the AJC school this year or any year.
Ever.
Now, these are timeless, right?
Top tip. Wow. Just one.
Yeah.
Uh, Utilize your group members. That
Ooh,
would be my top tip because the content is amazing. Onkush is amazing. The webinars, the laser sessions, all of that. The weekends are amazing.
yeah.
But so much gold for me came out of the conversations that I had with people like yourself, Dave, with, I won't list everyone, but like, the our peers that were in the group with us, like I got like that idea that I was sharing just a moment ago about content breathes life into my business came out of a conversation I was having with Dorothy on the school, just in our own time.
Oh,
So like there's gold in the other people because other people have experience, they have other ideas, they can see things that maybe you don't. And for me, so much happened in those conversations that if I was taking notes on all those conversations, I'd have like two more notebooks full of full of like writings and stuff like that. And for me, that was where a lot of the success in terms of what I got from the school, and not to again, not to downplay the content of the school because it's amazing, but for me, that like the connections that I made with people, like Daryl and Moritz, after the first weekend in September, we went and spent like 3 days in Brighton together just on a whim and like that 3 days, the impact that 3 days has had
yeah,
on my life, nothing to do with the school, but it's
yeah,
everything to do with the school.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
The impact that 3 days has had on my life has been phenomenal.
Wow.
So like that for me is where there's a lot of gold and a lot of magic that can easily be missed by not spending time with people and getting to know people. And there's people who I didn't really get to know that well. Doesn't mean that I can't. I
Yeah,
can reach
yeah,
out to them. Like, hey, look, we never got to spend that much time during the
yeah.
school. Like, let's chat. And I'm sure there'll be, some gold that comes out of it. Um, so that would be my top tip. And I'd probably have another 10 if I was allowed 10 more as well.
Sadly, the interviewer is really mean, so he's going to keep you to one.
Yeah,
Alex, that's just beautiful. We've kept to the questions, we've kept in the time. Thank you.
pleasure.